Hello, my name is Alun. My pronouns are he, him. And picking up from my friend Lowell Francis, if the pronunciation of my pronouns as he, him in any way offends you, tough. Um, so we are playing the second session of a four-session series of my own PbtA in development, Eotenweard. This is Dark Age Heroes, confronting a darkness rising across the Old North. And I propose to really just get stuck straight in, to be honest. If you want some introductions, go back to session one, where we did character creation, then got started. And that is my alarm telling me to put do not disturb on. There we go. I believe, colleagues, that we pick up after your arrival at Torhaven, and you might want to check out the Torhaven tab just to keep me honest on this one. Torhaven is a Saxon settlement in the Kingdom of Bernicia, and our principal significant NPCs are naive Lord Gundyr, who has a bitter spouse, Garhilda. Seren the Black tried to make some contact with, to make a connection with Garhilda, or at least approach her for, get something from her, only to have Hrothmunda, the dangerous champion. Are we seeing? I'll ask you, Paul. We've not had a description of Hrothmunda. Is she a big woman, or is she slight and dangerous?
Slight and dangerous.
So much like your very self.
Yes.
Okay. And Hrothmunda intervened very swiftly to get Seren to back off from the Lord's spouse, who was seated away from the high table, oddly. We've met Beardred, the thoughtful heir. And I think I'm right in saying that Dawn, our Fae, was trying to make a connection to Beardred and or the Lord. I can't quite remember which, if I'm honest. And
it was the Lord mostly. Yeah.
It was the Lord, that's right. And the other significant NPC in the village is Tar, the cowardly herder, who we've not seen much of yet. But I'll remind you that the signs and portents that you encountered on arrival, the indications that this was a place in need of your help and protection, was crows, a great bunch of crows seeing off a falcon, and then forming a murmuration in the shape of a hand. You were also conscious of many spiders, and that was the thing that triggered the inciting incident, really. When you were enjoying the Lord's hospitality, a young woman collapses, and through your intervention, you discover that she has been bitten by a spider, because there were spiders all around the place as you entered the village. So the themes we have so far are around crows and spiders. But in an effort to help this young woman, Seren called upon her gift, the gift to relieve others of their pain, to bring this young woman back to consciousness. And then Winifred used a miracle and a wonder to step into this young woman's kind of recollection almost of what she had seen. And she was in another place. And I think the clue I gave you was that there was something vaguely Latin or Roman about the location where she was located. Harking back to a dream that Seren had had before you arrived of three young women chained, manacled in a dark space. So that is, I think, where we got to. And my inclination is to say that after all of that fuss, we're going to cut to the following morning. because people go home. There's a degree of panic. Lots of people looking for what the nature of this poisonous spider. Lots of worry, lots of concern. But the four of you are invited to bed down around the fire pit in Lord Guntear's hall. And I want to invite each of you to frame a scene that is, what do you do that morning when you wake? So let me start with Seren. Seren, do you want to frame a scene for me that might further your investigations of the nature or manifestation of this darkness?
I would definitely like a scene, whether it achieves either of those two. I would like to leave the hall in the early morning air and pray to the one true God.
I'm unsurprised.
Yes. You know, as a good Christian, that is something that should be done on a daily basis.
I mean, is this something you do in, is this a private meditation, or is this kind of, praying aloud to God in his heaven?
I think it is praying aloud to God, probably on the steps of the hall. Yeah. Don't particularly need much equipment for it. I will have a actually don't know. Would the character be able to read?
You're the person most likely to be able to read.
Well, yeah, let's at least have somebody being able to read.
You've been raised by, warrior priests and all the rest in a Christian enclave.
So reading from a part of the scripture, and yeah, praying to my God for guidance.
Okay. So are you leaning into a move here?
I think the playbook move, the start of the arrival at the settlement, I didn't do it last session.
Exactly so.
Really.
So recount a past dishonorable act you did at God's bidding and who suffered.
I think you see a flashback of some mounted riders on a hill top above a small Saxon community, and there's some men at arms burning the village, and you see the men trying to put up a bit of a fight, and you see women and children fleeing from the village into a nearby forest, and then we charge down the hill and lay waste to the men.
Okay. And then it says, pray to do God's bidding despite any misgivings and roll plus favor.
Okay, my favor has gone down by 1 because I used it last session.
You did.
So I am only at a favor of 1. But hey, let's have 2d6. Excellent. I rolled a 5 and a 1. Give me 6 plus 1 equals 7.
Right. On 7+, you hold 1 to spend now or later to say how God's aid grants you advantage. Make a note of that. I'll put a tick in that little box to show that you've got that to spend. On 7 to 9, agree with the fate what God commands you to do during this session that you consider equally or more dishonorable in return for this help. What do you think God inspires you to do here?
That is equally or more dishonorable.
You started quite high on the dishonorable charts, it must be said.
Yeah, well, go home or go big. I think it is I think this time it's do not allow men or women to escape. That doesn't mean kill everybody.
No, just stop them escaping. Okay. Let's see if later on God is sufficiently impressed with your efforts. I don't think we've got any other start a session moves. So let me go next to Althea. Althea, would you like to frame a scene?
Yeah, I think Well, I don't know, like what how in depth it goes, but I think Althea would get up and go out and not like on a scouting mission per se, but like outside in the morning with their hawk and yeah, just sort of like that maybe yeah, I guess maybe walks past Seren and just like what's
Yeah.
that god business? But not too concerned. But yeah, maybe just a little bit of a walkabout, maybe try to put their head around everything that's gone on so far.
Is there anyone in
Um,
this scene, or is there a particular location in this scene?
hmm. I guess I'm open either way. Is either Winifred or Dawn an early riser, or would they get involved in this for any reason, or see Althea leaving and wanna like I'm
That
always really open. So
up to you. Which one would
Sure.
you prefer, or would you like an NPC?
oh, it sounds like what's Dawn?
I'll go.
How does Dawn fit into this?
Yeah,
Daniel.
I'm an early riser, as my name implies. So
Yeah.
I'll go with you, I think.
And so, what's the nature of the conversation then? If you're trying to get your head around this, what is it that we see you kind of bouncing off Dawn?
Yeah. I think maybe, yeah, probably just like, um, have you seen anything like this before? And like that, Winifred healing that woman from the spider was, or no, sorry, Seren did that. Sorry. That was quite extraordinary. Um,
It was, yes. Extraordinary things are happening since we arrived. I think some of the villagers know what's happening, and they are not just not telling us, because there's a lot of people who are here who are avoiding giving straight answers, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I saw you asking the Lord, or talking with the Lord yesterday. He
Yeah.
didn't he didn't have much to say.
Yeah, he said he'd talk to me later, but he didn't. So that was suspicious.
Yeah.
And what about that cowardly herder? The he escaped as soon as some strange things started to happen.
Yeah, he left immediately, and I haven't seen him since. But yeah, and the priest of, or is it priest? What do we call a proselytizer of Woden, the Allfather, Alun?
Priest of Woden.
Okay.
Priest of Woden is fine.
Yeah.
Who I've forgotten to add to the whole
seem
detail, actually.
He didn't see like for bringing the problem to attention. He didn't seem to have very many solutions either. Didn't see him after the commotion settled either. And I think like Althea is feeling this like weight of suspicion sort of settle onto them here. Like,
Well, I suppose, Althea, I'm curious. Tar, the herder, has been mentioned. The Priest of Woden's been mentioned. Does one of those attract you as somewhere to pursue this investigation?
Sure. Yeah. I feel like the priest is probably the best call. What do you like? Or that might be yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe Tar is easier to find.
Well, I mean, you are the only Saxon in the group, so you are likely to have some common ground with the priest. You might have an excuse for seeking him out. But then you're also probably the least worrying to approach the herder, given that we know he's a little bit flighty, a little bit jittery. I'm going to let you sit on that one, and I'm going to come back to you and see which of those two you'd like a scene with.
Cool.
Let me go next. I'll come back to you in a moment, Daniel, because you are owed a scene of your own if you want one. Matt, what scene would you like to frame for Winifred?
I was definitely thinking of speaking with Althea at some point after seeing what I saw in the woman's dreams and mind,
Okay.
about where we might go. But I think Winifred is a late sleeper, and is woken up a few hours past the sun.
Yeah, because most of the servants will begin to bustle around the hall and begin to build up the fire pit at dawn. So, there's some activity that might wake her an hour or so later.
Yeah, and I think I go for now to prepare a big pot of some sort of soothing and invigorating tea and breakfast for whoever needs basically a lunch at this point. But I'm thinking once Althea returns, I can speak with them about where we might need to go in order to follow the signs that I found.
Okay. What about dawn, Daniel? You've had that kind of conversation with Althea? Do you want to frame a scene with somebody?
Well, I'm not sure. I think I'll just follow Althea, and I wanted to ask them if you want to visit someone like the priest on your own, because maybe you will have a better chance of talking to them or getting something out of them, and then we could split, and I could follow the trail of the herder.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. That works. Yeah. If you want to, that sounds good.
Go in search of the herder. Dawn.
Yeah.
So let's have that scene then before we search out the priest. I guess that outside the stockade that surrounds the village, you can see the sheep, and our herder is he's got a little hut out on the slope that rises above the village, a little hut out there so he can stay near the sheep routinely. So I think you'll see him up there. What do we see as you approach him? What's your demeanor? What are you seeking to convey to him?
Yeah, I want to approach him in a way that he sees me immediately, so I'm not sneaking up to him.
Okay.
And I am holding my spear and my shield in my hands, so that not really in a very intimidating manner, just like maybe if he's easily scared, so that he would be scared. So yeah.
A long pointed weapon and a shield for
Yes.
defense is not at all a sense of having your shields raised. And it is very obvious that he is very nervous as you approach. Because there's a sense in which this is his place, and here's an armed warrior coming up the hill that he doesn't know. So what do you say when you're kind of within 10 yards, 10 meters of him?
I say, "Hello, dear peasant. May I have a word with you?"
Yes, sir.
A question, actually.
Why? Of course, sir.
Why did you run away yesterday when things got heated?
Shall we go straight to seeming human then?
Yeah.
Because
I
though
think
you
so,
clothe
yeah,
yourself in the appearance of humanity, mortals can sometimes sense your true nature. The first time during a session that you have a significant interaction with a mortal NPC, roll plus favor.
Yeah, I'm going all in with making a connection with him. So it's
Yes, hello, dear peasant is clearly the first step in making that connection. Yes.
Sure. Okay, so 2d6 plus favor, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I rolled a 9 plus 2 that's 11.
Okay, so on a 10 plus, your seeming is perfectly maintained. He sees you as what you appear to be, which is a British warrior. you know, based on that description.
Yes.
Probably, you know, a pagan warrior. So you're frightening on two counts. One, you're not Christian, and two, you got a sharp stick and a shield. So he is nervous of you, but not because you are more than you seem. So how can I help you, sir?
Yes, just answer my question, please.
Sorry, I didn't
What
hear
happened? Why did you run away?
Everyone was frightened. Everyone was nervous. And there was all that panic when somebody said there was a poisonous spider. So I just left.
Just because of this information, haven't you been frightened before?
Um, 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 I think I'm looking for either look about you for me to tell you something about him, or convince him to tell you something that he might not want to let out. Which would you prefer as an approach?
I think more logical is look about you, because I think yeah, he's like just frightened, and maybe as I'm observing him and the surroundings, maybe I'll find out something that.
Okay, so you've got an option here: roll plus sense, or you can seek the inspiration of your Fey crown and roll plus favor. But then, of course, you'll owe them a debt.
Okay, so yeah, let's try the favor of the crown.
Okay. 2d6 plus favor, and then increase your debt by 1.
Okay, so 2d6. That's an 8 plus favor is 2.
So that's a 10 by me.
Yeah, that's a 10, and then my favor drops by 1, right? So
yes, it does.
After the roll, right?
Debt goes up after the roll. Debt goes up by 1. Favor will be down by 1 next time. So 7 plus, you pick 1. I don't think this is about revealing a threat's weakness, unless he's doing a very good job at hiding it. So I think this is, the fates will tell you something relevant that becomes a truth in the fiction. Yeah, I think I will, rather than invite you to fill that gap. It is very obvious that something has happened in the recent past that has frightened him, and now events of last night have made him more frightened. He is nervous, and he's hiding something. Okay, I'm going to cut away from there to Winifred, who's finally got up. And seek out Althea. Was that? Oh, you are muted.
Possibly wait for Althea to return and then have a hot mug of something ready for them and a proposition.
Okay, so let's have Althea then. Let's have you find the Priest of Woden. And I think that probably I will have to check what name I gave him last time, because now I can't remember, and I really should have checked that. But let's call him. We haven't got a Frithric. Frithric. That's far too difficult to say. Let me change that immediately. Garthric. There we are. Garthric. Garthric, the Priest of Woden. He is at his over there. There's a set of carved logs, one of which you recognize as being carved in the likeness of Woden, and then some of the rest of Woden's family of gods. These upright posts carved to look like him, and he is tending this. Just making sure that no mold or moss grows on these these carved and decorated posts. What approach do we see you taking, Althea?
I think the first thing that happens is my hawk flies out and lands on the statue. And if that doesn't like startle him into turning around and seeing me, then I would probably hail him or whatever, right? Like,
yeah, no, he, the hawk kind of stoops down, and his gaze follows it as it comes back to you, and he's and he will see the kind of the anvil that is often the sign of followers of Woden around your neck, and say, "Ah, you were one of the people who arrived yesterday. What can I do for you?"
Oh yeah. I just thought it was a bit curious that coming in and describing such ill portents and then just sort of leaving seemed a bit curious. I was wondering what else you had seen or what else the Allfather might have told you.
Um, I found the dead birds, yes, and brought them to my lord's attention. But then that chaos erupted with the young woman, that chaos around looking for this supposed spider.
Did you know that young woman?
Well,
Do you
we
know
all,
the
yeah, I mean, it's not a big enough settlement for everyone not to know everyone by name. Yeah. Yes, she's a young maiden. Her mother is you know as is part of our village. What is that? What is there to know?
And have there been has there been more of this recently, or did this just happen now? It seems since we arrived, there's been uh, dead birds and bugs and a bit of nastiness around. Is that something that's been happening, or is this news to everyone?
I don't think I'm going to make you roll for this. You're a Saxon. He's a Saxon. He was not at all private about bringing those dead birds back yesterday. Um, and um, and he says, no, crows. I've been finding dead crows for weeks now, and something's going on. But my lord says they are it's just coincidence, it's accident. There's nothing to it. But I worry that Woden is sending us a signal, because the crow has always been Lord Guntir's and his father and his father's father. It is their war symbol. It is their banner on the field of battle. And seeing these dead crows around the place I don't think it's a good sign. I worry about it, Althea.
As do I. Does your lord often ignore your concerns?
Oh, now I think this is getting into sensitive ground, so I think you need to convince him to
Okay.
share. So you can roll with subtle, or you can ask Woden to gild your tongue and roll with favor, and then owe Woden a debt. The choice is yours.
Oh. I made my bed. I'll sleep in it. I'll roll with subtle.
Okay, go for it. 2d6 plus not very many, I think.
Oh boy, that did not go well. That's a 4.
Um, uh, and he raises his finger and he says, "I am loyal to my lord. Do not impugn my honor, stranger." And your interactions with Gathric are going to be at disadvantage,
Okay.
because he thinks you're snooping.
He's not wrong.
But that's not to say that there is not an insight to be got from that conversation.
Right. Right.
Has that told you anything that might begin to build our narrative? At the moment, we've got Seren's insight of poison threatens the village. And following Winifred's trip into the experience of that young woman when she was unconscious, we have Heart of the Wilderness, because I think there was a sense that much of that was overgrown, or there were roots in the background of this space where she had been held. So What do you think? I'll give you a moment to
Yeah,
think about it. I'll
sure.
come back round to you. Althea will need to come up with that, I think, before she comes back to Winifred. So,
Well, I can roll my start of session move
oh, go
just to
on.
get a little portent for a little flash of a scene. Let's just see how my dreams have been, basically.
So
I
is this the
dreamed,
other world where rolling? Oh no, I dreamed a dream. Sorry, yes, yes, yes,
you've
yes.
got
I'd forgotten
it.
about that one. So at the
Yes.
start of every section, roll 2d6.
So we'll see what sort of state I'm in this morning, peering down into my cup.
Oh,
Just the same as last time, a 3 and a 1. I think
3
my
and a
dreams are
1.
troubled.
Make a note of that somewhere, because your dice roll's going to have to be pretty desperate to need to substitute one of them with a 3 or a 1. But
Or I'll have to want to fail it.
yes, so I'm curious. What have you dreamed of that leaves you this disturbed?
Well, I think the dream that the dream that was relevant last session was of that murmuration of crows forming the shape of a hand and strangling the life out of my lost love, which was not pleasant.
Mhm.
And I think my curious burden and my longing temptation drive me to dive deep into that when it comes up. So I think I've been stewing and ruminating, maybe had trouble falling asleep. Maybe that's part of why I slept in. And I think maybe I see, well, when and if I use the dice, I will get more into the imagery, but I'm imagining an empty village covered in crows, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Um, and I'm feeling very lonely. I'm missing my family in this strange place.
Okay. And I take a hold away to spend at my discretion to put you at a disadvantage when that dream comes back to you. Ugh.
Mhm.
Okay. Dawn, where next? Oh, let me remind all of you what I failed to remind you often enough last time. When you roll with an attribute, put a tick in the box next to that attribute. So there's a subtle, and I think Seren was a favor, but you might have had that one ticked already. Can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dawn,
Oh yes,
you've approached him.
yes, I lower my voice a little bit, and since now I know that he's hiding something,
Mhm.
this is what I tell him. My dear Tar, I know that you're hiding something, and you have a reason to be scared because if something bad happens, it happens to the poor ones first. This is the world. This is what it is in the world. But maybe I can help you.
Um,
If you trust me and you tell me what is happening.
I think this is a good time to determine how trusting you are of him, because we did talk about a wish last time to give you a trust that you could
Yes.
later betray. So,
Yeah.
so I think it's probably convince him again to develop
Yes, I
that
think so.
trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
subtle or favor, and then owe a debt to your crown.
I think I'm gonna go with subtle. But do I
Okay.
have an advantage because I got a 10
You
plus
did
on the...
indeed. You did indeed. Yeah, you have him where you want him. So 3D, take the top two and add subtle.
Okay. So that's a 3 and a 4 is 7, and with subtle is 8.
8. Are you tempted to ask your crown to boost that with seek your patron's help to turn that into to get to re-roll maybe the 3 so it might go up to a 10? I'm just curious.
Let me see what I get. No, I'll keep it like this.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So so we stick with that. Okay, on a 7 to 9, they pick he if I tell you about this, I have to know that you will speak on my behalf if Lord Gundhere finds I've not told him about this. Do I
Of
have
course
your
I will.
word?
Yes, you have my word. Your well-being is, my obligation now.
So they say what they expect of you now or later. They expect you to stand up for them if they find themselves in a spot because of this. And then he
Okay.
says, it was a couple of weeks ago that I was out with the sheep at night, just watching over the flock, and I saw a light over yonder, and he points towards the overgrown Roman ruin that we know is in the vicinity. And I saw a light, but I didn't say anything about it. Um, um, and I thought to approach Hrothmunda about it, but she always bullies me, so I didn't say anything. But ever since then, there are spiders everywhere. And then last night, when there was that poisonous spider, and dead crows, and I it's not my fault, but I fear I'll be blamed if I say anything. But if you speak for me, I'm sure the Lord will trust your word that I just should. I tried to tell Hrothmunda, but she's a very difficult woman.
Well, don't worry, Tar. It's not your fault that you saw the light first. Me and my friends are going to investigate this and keep you protected.
And if anyone else says anything to me about this, I'll come and look for you.
Yes, sure. I'll be here. We won't leave until we find out what's happening.
Thank you. I feel better having told someone.
I'm glad you do.
You're a good man.
And so are you. So are you.
Althea, Winifred wants a scene with you. Do you want that to be in the hall, Winifred, or somewhere else? In the hall with your calming cup of tea?
I was
But
thinking
Althea,
maybe.
before we get to that scene, Althea, have you given any thought to that potential insight?
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a cover up or conspiracy is what it's starting to feel like to me. Like that sort of like Wicker Man vibes or whatever, right? Where like you're in a place and like things are being hidden from you by those in power, either through like willful ignorance or malice, unknown to me yet. But yeah, it feels a bit like that.
So would an insight as broad as those in power are hiding things be enough? Is that
Yeah, I think
fair?
so. Yeah.
Okay. And Dawn, I'm going to come back to you and ask you for an insight based on what your conversation with Tar. But Winifred and Althea, let's have your scene.
So I think I come out from the hall onto the surrounding lands with a cup to like meet you and your bird on your return. Maybe we've got a spot of nice weather this afternoon, calm before the storm. And I definitely look a bit put out, but I put on a cheerful face and I say, early riser as ever. I suppose that bird doesn't let you sleep.
No, not too long anyways. And I see you've had troubled sleep again.
Oh, just the dreams. But I've made a nice soothing cup for us. Something to settle your spirit.
Now I'm curious, Winifred, are you leaning into seek solace in friendship here?
I was looking at the move and I was thinking that it might come up.
Well,
Certainly.
if and when you feel ready to unburden yourself about your current temptation of longing, because it does seem like you're seeking out company. So let's have the scene continue.
And where have you been this morning? There's lots of strange characters about, and one with very ill portents at our door.
Yeah, I felt the same, so I took it upon myself to visit the Priest of Woden, and he's hiding something.
Aren't they all?
Something's yeah. Yes, and the Lord here as well. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, I think you're right. Basically, everyone is, but I don't know what it is.
I don't know
Obviously
what
related to.
I have a feeling the sun knows more than he lets on. He's got a light behind his eyes, but that Lord, I don't think he'd know an ill omen if you dumped it at his feet. Well, I suppose someone did, and he didn't. So we may have to do something for these people.
Yeah, that seems more and more certain by the minute.
I saw in that young woman's mind a dark place, a sad place full of despair. And I think we may need to go there, and I think we may need you to lead us there.
So I think so Alan, just a question here. If I was to invoke this like true pact move, like how like does that work kind of in any sort of like nebulous like magical way that I want it to or
Pretty
like
much.
okay, yeah, cool.
Pretty much.
Because
The move says when you call on your patron to empower your gift, agree with the fates what success will look like. So they're deliberately written vaguely for you to define to an extent what success would look like.
sure. Yeah, because I think Althea would like look Althea or Althea would look Winifred like in the eyes and say like show me and try to have this like connection through the Allfather, I guess, to like pull this like vision out or like get a sense of it themselves to see where we might need to be going
Okay.
physically or metaphysically.
Okay. So when you call upon your patron to empower your gift, agree with them and roll plus favor. So this is to get to try to pull together what Winifred is saying to everything else you've learned is what I'm implying here, and we'll visualize what that looks like once we know how successful or not it is. So roll
Awesome.
plus favor. Roll plus favor.
This might also help to map my murky dream vision onto Althea's like very practical knowledge of the lands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except
I rolled a 4 and +2 is a 5.
I would like to help.
No, it doesn't work with a gift. The gift is about you and your God. So that's a very personal failure. But I thank you for that failure because I'm marking the shade track, and I've just marked the first of the second column, marked dreary. And what I'm going to do, Althea, is to manifest the darkness.
Could I first just add one detail in that you look Winifred in the eyes and Winifred's face shifts a little bit into a much more like somber, serious tone as though she's recalling the vision, and you see her eyes just like fill with blackness, like they did when that spirit came to yesterday. That's a bit dreary for you.
And then, Althea, you are stumbling backwards because those black eyes multiply. You see a twisted, part human face with 8 eyes, and an assault And there's an incredible sense of, you could hear skittering, multi-legged skittering. And I think I need you to face a challenge to see, the effect this has on you. Now, face a challenge, you could make an argument for using any of your attributes. So if you want to pick an attribute and then justify it to me, I'll listen.
Well, the meta makes me want to pick steel, which I guess would kind of make sense. I guess I could pitch it as like a strong fight or flight response that triggers the fight, and Althea might take out a weapon or prepare themselves a bit.
Yeah, so I think what
in that
Winifred
way.
sees is you stumble back, and I can't remember what weapons you've got, but I guess you draw your
A bow.
handouts.
Let's go with a bow. Handouts. Okay.
I think given the proximity, I think it's
Sure, yeah.
wanting to defend yourself. So the axe comes up. Let's have you face the challenge with steel.
This is awesome.
Okay, so an 8 + 2, it will be a 10.
Oh, will you look at that? So on a 7+, you succeed, but the fake picks 1. I think there is a physical shock as you feel these pincers come around you, mark 1 harm. But on a 10+, you pick 1. Say how your approach grants you advantage, or how you impress a watching mortal enough for them to owe you a debt. So you could gain a debt from the village of Torhaven here, if you can justify why what's happening makes sense. I tell you what, I'll make it easier for you. The young woman that Seren brought back from that poisoning last night, Winifred, you will see her drop a pail of water that she's just collecting from the well, and look goggle-eyed at something that it seems to, she can see something you can't, Winifred. But Althea is striking at this thing with an axe. So that would allow you to impress Althea, a local, if you wanted to go with that, rather than have advantage, which might apply going forward, depending on circumstances.
And sorry, what's the benefit of having a debt? Like, is that a currency to be used?
It is. It is. You
Okay.
can spend that. It's a bit like putting an advantage in the bank.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take that option then.
Okay. Well, if you go down your character sheet, you'll find a little slot for settlements. You can put Torhaven overtype Torhaven in one of those settlements, and there's a drop down that allows you to add a debt. So Winifred, you see this, and he, Althea's stumbling away, and clearly fending something off, and this young woman is screaming on one side. What do you do, Winifred?
So what I think is that I've gone to show Althea this vision that I had so that we could be on the same page. And Althea has seen something else in me or in my mind to cause this horror in them. And I think that does not make Winifred feel good. I think Winifred's, like, there was a chance of reaching out. I don't think there's solace happening at this time, because
I think the moment has passed.
Yeah, and I think Winifred's had these horrible dreams and just feels full of nightmares, basically, and is like, oh, my friends recoil at a look inside of me. This is how it's gonna be, basically. So she goes, yeah, it's horrible. It's nasty, isn't it?
And I think, Althea, it was momentary, then it's gone, but that young woman is still screaming. Seren, you're around the village. What do you do when you hear the screams of this young woman?
I shall run over to her, and I'll look where she's pointing.
And Althea is kind of well, Althea, you tell me, what does Seren see in the aftermath of this experience?
I feel like the hawk has flown right up,
Oh,
and
whoa,
so
yeah, you know.
yeah. So Althea's standing there, um, holding holding their axe, maybe just like kind of loosely down by their side at this point. But I think there's a shadow that's like fallen off a tree or part of a building or something that looks like, pincers or a spider legs or a hand or something, right? Like
Yeah,
can't tell what it is, but
yeah.
yeah.
The shadow of this tree, it looks like it could be a multi-legged thing. So that's, Althea is clearly shaken, Seren. This young woman has stopped screaming, and I think probably recognizes you, and kind of throws herself into your arms, to hide her face from looking in that direction.
God will protect you, my child. Stand behind me. If your heart is pure. Is your heart pure?
Yes, yes, yes.
So what is it you saw? Tell me, in the name of Christ.
The 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 spider.
You saw a spider?
It attacked your friend.
No, no, he was not attacked in this world. So how can you see beyond?
I don't know. I don't know. I just saw it suddenly. It just appeared and leapt at him, at her, at them. Sorry, I will get that pronoun right shortly.
I will
My
lay my
apologies.
hand upon her head. God will expunge this demon that you see. Come back to the real world.
Is this Payne's balm?
No, I'm just trying to convince her really
Holy fervor.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have you roll with steel to just calm her down. And then I think I'll offer Althea her insight, and depending on the outcome of this, I might offer you one as well.
12.
That's a lot. So she calms down. The village owes you a debt through her. I think that's the logical thing in this setup. And I saw a spider, a great spider.
Is this the first time you've had this vision, or have you had it before?
When I fainted last night, I saw a shadow, a many-legged shadow, and she's pointing at the shadow the tree is laying around Althea. That's all I remember.
Some pernicious evil stalks you, my dear, and we must expunge it.
You may want to give some thought to an insight. Althea, I don't know whether I think actually there's more of an insight from Althea, but Dawn, I said I would offer you an insight.
Oh, yes. I was
Based on
thinking
your experience with Tar.
Yeah, so Tar said that he saw a light coming from the Roman ruin, right?
Yes.
And I'm thinking that I don't know if it's too specific or too generic. To label it as some kind of a magical source.
So what? There is a source of magic.
Yes.
Fine.
Something like that. Yeah.
Put that in. Put that in.
Okay.
Now I'm just going. Given that we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 insights. Were someone to roll for a revelation right now, you'd be rolling +1. It will max out at +3. So if you could get 2 more insights, you'd be rolling to have a revelation about the darkness at +3. But I am conscious that we're just coming up to our first hour, so I'm going to let you mull over what you want to do next while we take a break. Shall we take until 5 past the hour? Is that okay? Oh, Casey, is that a hand up? No,
No, just a thumbs up. Sorry.
No, I think I've made the mistake of asking Zoom to recognize hand gestures, which I will find a way to turn off at some point. That's the second time that's happened. So yeah, shall we say back at 5 past the hour? Is that long enough?
I might be 2 minutes late, but that sounds good.
Well, no, let's because it's early where you it's earlier where you are. So let's make it 10 past the hour.
Go ahead.
That
Okay,
sounds
see you
all right
then.
to me.
So I think we're towards the middle of the day now, because even though Winifred laid into mid-morning, I think that I'm seeing you together because you've all experienced something, and I'm curious what you think you should do next. So let me start with Althea, because I think Althea, you're suspicious of, well, everyone. So do you think that this is about digging into the people in the settlement, or not?
I think maybe not so much right now. I might be on the tip of like, what are they hiding? Can we find the thing that they're hiding and then confront them with it? Is I think more of my MO than to like keep asking questions of people who don't want to answer questions.
Fair enough. And I would remind you all, when you think you've hit one of those end of session experience things, do kind of put a tick in that box as an aid memoir. Dawn, I'm curious whether you have a plan for either gaining other people's trust, or how you might want to kind of put Tar in a position where perhaps his trust in you is betrayed one way or another, or whether that's one you want in your back pocket for later.
I think those two things are connected, possibly. So yeah, I do want to poke around more. My idea is, I don't know when we plan to have the revelation move, but I'm kind of having the idea that there is someone in the village is maybe not the source of the thing, the evil, but is someone has triggered it, and they know who it is. That's what my thoughts are.
Okay. And then I
Yeah.
suppose for Winifred and Seren, Althea and Dawn have shared their views of the Priest of Woden, and also Dawn, I'm assuming that within the
Oh,
group
yes.
you'll be open and share,
Yeah, sure.
despite your naturally duplicitous nature. That Dawn has shared what Tar told him about this light one night in the overgrown Roman ruin. So my question is, what do you want to do? Do you want to go off separately again, or is this about a group effort with someone or somewhere? Winifred, what's your contribution to this conversation?
Well, if we want to do some classic snooping, I don't see a reason not to. We have a few who are especially good at that sort of thing, and maybe some powers available to us to conceal our listening and our poking around. I don't know.
Okay, no, that's a perfectly legitimate response at this point.
I think that's Winifred sighing and saying that she doesn't know. I think she's overwhelmed with darkness and omens and is sort of sick of all that business today, and might like to do something more mundane and practical and obvious, like spying on people.
What about Seren? Because this is the information that's come out of Dawn and Althea, so I'm curious what Seren makes of it.
Brothers, sisters, we cannot allow this to go on. Now is the time of action. This young girl is at risk. The omens, as Dawn has said, point, and I will point up the hill to the ruins. That is where we need to go. That is a point of action. Are you with me?
Say the
I'm with you,
word,
my
Seren.
friend.
Dawn is with you. What was that, Winifred?
I said, always so declarative, Seren. But I am with you. I just worry that if someone here is connected to what we're going and wandering into, then they might not be so safe as they seem once we leave. But nothing like delving into the heart of the matter, the heart of the wilderness even.
What about Althea?
Yeah, action seems right. Althea might be frustrated with again, and maybe they saw some of this when their village, sort of rotted from within, right? Like the inaction of the of the village itself, or those in charge, maybe is a parallel. So I think Althea might be looking for action as well. That zealotry can be infectious.
Yes. So it looks like the overgrown Roman ruin is the objective. Who is going to take the lead? Because you may just want to check out the locations tab, because each of these different location characteristics has something about it. So, for instance, the overgrown, the risk related to it being overgrown is finding a path or pushing through the overgrown vegetation. And there is a risk that you may take harm if you get that wrong. So who is going to take the lead? Because the move says, when you approach a location with this descriptor, the fate foreshadows the risks and consequence. So, as you approach this ruin, there is a wall of vegetation, thorns and, sharp edges. There are roots on the ground, snaking across the ground, that are a trip hazard. So it's not a good place. So that's my foreshadowing of risk and consequence. And confirm that you continue, and then ask which hero takes the lead as you step into this overgrown location. So do I have a volunteer?
I have a shield and I'm well armored, my friends. I am prepared to go first.
I did sort of, I had been like hinting that Althea would be the one to like, because you're the hunter and that seems to be like a thing for the playbook and a way for the character to shine when the rest of us have lots of village business. I don't want to step on your toes either, Paul, but I just wanted to call that out. That
because there is an end of session XP available for did you step into the unknown first? So Althea, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, like I think I said it last time. I'm from the Midwest, so as a player, I'm very like deferential and like just kind of like I like to go with the flow.
And that's why I
or
put you in my
like
prophecy, because I was like, Casey,
yeah,
the
yeah,
fates
I
are
know,
telling me that your character has to lead us into the wild.
So maybe like, and again, I think maybe Seren is pretty well prepared, but maybe like maybe Althea sort of like steps up and says to Seren um like there's often a time for might, like, but this isn't it. We need to be careful here. Like a more cautious approach might do us well.
Very well.
So then, Althea, describe your approach. How do you seek to manage the risk and avoid the consequence? You've got this wall of vegetation that it could be painful to engage with. So how are you going to get through it to the ruin itself?
Yeah, I think Althea is taking a measured, sort of like careful approach, looking for gaps in the vegetation or a spot where there might have been a doorway that's just overgrown, or that sort of like thing. But also sending up their hawk to sort of take a look at it from above or the other side, and maybe whatever relay some information if that's at all possible.
Okay. So this sounds like you're approaching this challenge with sense. You're engaging your perceptions. You're trying to work out the best approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the hawk won't help you here because the hawk affects the move look about you, whereas you'll see that this move says, if you have taken the lead, say what you do to manage the risk and avoid the consequence, and roll plus the attribute the fate says is most appropriate to the risk, right? Or seek the help of a patron and roll plus favor, but then owe them a debt. So I'm thinking sense or favor at the cost of a debt here. Pays your money, takes your choice, Althea. What's your... Do you want Woden to guide your path, or are you going to
Yeah,
go with
actually, I think I
sense?
do. In this instance, I think I'm looking for success. So I'll trade out and go with the favor and take the debt.
Okay, so let's have you roll plus favor.
All right. So a pair of fours is an 8 plus 2 will be 10.
10. How does Woden help here? Does he, for instance, empower your connection to the hawk on this occasion, so you see or sense something from the hawk's point of view?
Yeah, that's definitely the cinematic thing to happen, right? Is all of a sudden we get like that sort of like fisheye lens thing looking through the hawk's eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but because it's Woden, it's only through one eye.
right, right.
Yeah, okay. So on a 7 plus, you manage the risk and avoid the consequences. On a 7 to 9, which doesn't apply. So on 10 plus, say how you gain advantage as a result of your success. What is it? What situation do you find yourself in that places you at advantage now, Althea?
Hmm. Have we managed or have we managed to like approach from like under the assumption that this place is being used by someone, they have a way that they enter. Have we not found that entrance, but a different entrance? So if we come upon those people, we might have the
Fine.
drop on them, so to
You
speak.
have found a previously unknown way in through the undergrowth to this ruin. Dawn, what kind of ruin? Do you want to give me any sense of when you break through this undergrowth into a bit of space where you can see some of this Roman structure? What do you think this is a ruin of?
Uh, Probably a barracks of some kind, maybe like some military thing with a weapon, something that was holding weapons, or I don't know.
Some kind of watchtower, or...
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so we you break through this and you come out into a space, and there's this overgrown tower. Maybe there's a tree growing in the middle of it. Now, any timbers are long since rotted. You know, the legions left 200 years ago. Many of the stones have collapsed in. But there is a portal there. And we go to the second location move, which says, when the heroes have negotiated the risk presented by the descriptor for this location, the Fates uses the challenge seed to hint at where or how the insight might be gained. Because each of the locations that you created could offer you an insight if things go well, right? So this is an overgrown, we dealt with that, Roman ruin. The challenge seed says a hiding place. I think that there are, with fallen stones and the overgrown nature of this tower, the structure itself, there are many places here that something could be hidden. Yeah. And it also says, use the threat seed to foreshadow the threat. As you enter through what was once the gate of this, I mean, it's not an enormous tower. It's probably, 10 paces across, maybe. As you cross the threshold, there's a distinct temperature drop. There's a clear sense that you are collectively not welcome here. And then I need to check in whether Althea continues to take the lead or whether somebody else steps up. Althea, I'll come to you. Do you want to stay at on point? Or have you done your
Maybe
bit?
maybe now that we've navigated our way in here and there's this like bit more ominous feeling, maybe this is when Althea would turn to Seren and and maybe ask
No need to ask,
her.
brother. No need to ask.
Perfect.
And the threat seed here is that which regrets the loss of what was, and there is something uncomfortable in the dark space beyond this archway, Seren, as you step towards it.
Steel yourselves, friends. Evil lurks in this location.
And step across the threshold, Seren.
Indeed.
If you have taken the lead, say what you do to gain the insight. Now, it could be hidden under rocks, it could be a carving, it could be a broken statue, it could be anything. What do we see you doing as you look around for why is this place important?
I think I'm going to be tapping my spear, the base of the spear, which is wooden, which is metal, sort of covered.
Metal butt.
On the ground as I walk forwards, hoping to hear something in the ground that would tell me of unstable earth or something below.
Okay. So that I think that is sense. Sense is the normal perception-y thing.
I think
so, or I could go with subtle, as that's quite a cunning plan.
It is a cunning plan, but it is audio. You know, I want to hear it, so I am going to roll sense.
Fine. You don't want the option of favor and God a debt?
No.
I'm just asking. Just checking in. Go ahead then. 2d6 plus sense.
5, 6.
6.
I do have an advantage though.
From where?
From earlier, thy will be done.
Oh, you do. So yes, you do indeed.
Or is it? But there is another move I can re-roll a dice, isn't there?
There is. There's help yourself. So, but let's just check in on thy will be done.
Well, I should have said I want to use it before. It's not a really use afterwards. So I think now the only thing to do is
seek your patron's help, or after a hero acts other than with their gift, ask if you can help to improve their outcome. Could someone else step up? I mean, Althea is the obvious person, but I don't want to assume Althea was second in. Which way do you want to lean, Seren?
Well, we do have somebody else with a spear as well. So if Dawn would follow my lead and start tapping the ground.
You willing to get involved in this, help another hero?
Yeah, sure.
So you think you can help? If they say you can, say what you do. Are you using the same approach?
Yes. I'm following the lead and just doing the same thing.
Yeah. Roll with sense or roll with favor and then owe your patron a debt. Your choice.
I will roll with sense.
Go ahead.
Which is 2, but that's a help another move, yeah?
Yep.
I have -2 to that because
of my
yes, you do,
because you're selfish.
Yeah. So it's 0 total. Let's see. So I'm doing the same thing, but not very. Yeah, I'm not very into it.
You're letting him go first, her go first, and okay. I'll look like I'm helping.
Oh, that's an 8.
Oh well, there you go. So on a 7+, their outcome improves 1 step. So so that fail becomes a mixed success. But on 7 to 9, you expose yourself to some relevant danger, risk, or consequence, even if they don't. So let's see what this tells us. So the location move says on 7 to 9, the threat intervenes. What does each hero do to avoid or overcome it in the hope of then gaining the insight they sought? Well, I think that the catch here, Dawn, is because you're not really paying attention. The first thing you know is when you feel a cold breath on the back of your neck, and you are surprised when a ghostly legionary lunges at you. So roll to face a challenge to avoid the surprise. Yeah. And I think it's probably steel, I have to say. I can't see how much else applies here. in the moment.
Okay. So face a challenge, that's 36. And my steal is -1. But I got a 10 minus 1 is 9.
Fine. I'm just going to inflict 1 harm on you for that.
Okay.
There's a kind of stab of cold as the gladius comes from behind the shield, and you feel it penetrate you as a chill. Winifred, what do
Alan,
you...
could I just stop you there just to talk about some mechanics?
Go on.
Yeah, Dawn has just filled all 4 boxes, so now clears the whole line, adds
And
1
marks
to
XP.
XP, and starts again.
Fine. Thank you for
Thanks.
that. So, Winifred, you see this apparition appear out of nowhere behind Dawn and stab him. What do you do?
Well, if I know anything about Celtic mystics and Romans, is that don't get along too well. And my mentor was someone who hated Romans, who hated all people that would act against our lands and our people. So maybe I'm taking on a little bit of the vengeful spirit of my mentor.
Okay. Okay. And what do you do with that?
Well, I think I would like to try to speak words of banishment.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because that's your gift, isn't it? You have the option to, I forget the words, banish a creature, spirit, curse from a place, person, object for the rest of this scene. So let's have you invoke your miracles and wonders. But of course, you are a little shaken today, so I'm going to spend my hold to place you at disadvantage.
Brilliant.
So invoke your gift.
So that's 3 dice, take the 2 lowest.
Yes, please.
All right, here goes. Oh, that's snake eyes.
Oh, my goodness me.
So
Okay.
So what I want to happen basically is I think the my eyes, fill with the color of the night sky, and I think Dawn sees more than the others, like ghostly wings, spiritual wings, like sprouting from my back, and my claws extending as I like shriek out a curse in the ancient tongue of our people at this Roman. That's what I want to happen, and have it basically dissipate. So you tell me what actually happens.
Yeah, what actually happens is a second spirit manifests in front of you and thrusts a gladius into your chest. Mark 2 harm.
Ouch.
Althea, because Seren was at the front, Dawn was behind, then Winifred, and you're still on the threshold. What, if anything, do you do, Althea, when these ghostly Romans materialize?
So is this considered a capital T threat?
This is a threat.
Okay, so I would like to probably use the perceptive move I took. So when you first encounter a threat, spend a moment considering how to best defeat it. Does that work here?
That does
Okay.
work here. So let's
Cool.
have you roll that. So advantage, look about you, 3d6. Take the top 2 plus sense would be the simple outcome, but you've always got the option on favor and a debt.
No, that's fine. I'll take sense. This is a mechanical question. What happens if you have advantage twice? Is that possible?
There's no difference. You use one of them right now. And then
Okay.
if the other one still applies narratively, if you've still got fictional positioning for the other one, fine and dandy.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna roll 3d6. Nice. 2 highest are gonna be a 5 and a 6, so that's gonna be an 11.
Wow. So on a 10 plus, I can tell you without doubt that in order to the weakness of a spirit are words of death. So if you use words that remind them that they're dead, that is a weakness. Yeah.
Mhm.
But on a 10 plus, you get advantage. There's an advantage to be had around that. So you're just stacking up advantages now. That's just becoming ludicrously unfair to everybody else. But Seren, you hear this behind you, and you turn to see one Roman legionary confronting Dawn, another one confronting Winifred, and Althea kind of saying, "Words of death."
Send them to hell, right? Like,
So, Seren, what do we see you doing?
I will leap forwards, and the one that attacked Dawn, I will push Dawn aside, swing my spear at them, and shout, "You are not of this world. God put you in the ground centuries ago. This is not your world."
Okay, now,
them with
folks,
my
just
spear.
mechanically, this is the first threat you've encountered, so I'm going to walk you through it. You're looking at the confront them move, right? And the way this game deals with this is that threats have defenses. You have to narratively describe how you are attempting to circumvent, remove those defenses, and then we see how that goes. So what Seren is doing is employing that weakness. So that puts Seren at advantage. And they only have one defense, really, which is the fact that they are not of this world. So if Seren can overcome that defense, they will be at your mercy. Yeah, or this one will be at their mercy. So let's have you confront this. I mean, is this an act of faith, Seren? Or is this just steel?
So faith is what down that list?
Favor.
I thought you might say that. No, but yeah, no, I think it is a test of faith, because they are not corporeal. So I think this is from the other side. So
Okay, so you're rolling 3d6. You're taking
Yep.
the top two because you're speaking words of death.
Yep.
And you are going to roll with favor, but then you're going to owe God a debt.
so favor always owes God.
No, only when the move says it does, and this one does.
Oh, does it?
Attribute the fate says is most relevant, or ask a patron for help and roll plus favor, but then owe them a debt.
So you can't roll favor as a stat on this.
You can, yeah. You can roll with favor, but it will cost you a debt after the event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That just it sets it apart from all the others.
No, it's the
Because I
same
said
as...
I ran behind them and stabbed them in the back, and it was a subtle attack, that wouldn't cost me anything.
No.
Okay, but because I want to use faith, it will
Yes.
cost me something.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's simply to offer people more opportunities to use favor. Really, that in the sense of the rules, that's what it's intended to do, to give favor more uses.
Okay,
so you don't
but
have to
favor
use
always
it.
comes at a cost.
And not always. It does when the move says it does. And
Okay.
3 of the common moves do.
Okay.
So what are you gonna go with?
Yeah, no, that's fine. 11.
Oh, will you look at that? So, your God a debt. And on an 11, so 7 plus, the defenses are raised. So that the spirit confronting Dawn is no longer, it is at your mercy. It's going to be at your mercy in a moment. The defense are raised, but they inflict harm as established. No, I don't think so. They use a power. They disappear and reappear behind a different hero. Let me roll a d6 or 1d4 even. 1. Oh, they disappear from in front of you, Seren, and appear behind you. Yeah. But on a 10 plus, it says, you also say how you pick one of those. There's quite a long list. If it has no defenses, immediately roll to humble them. So you could do that.
I think I'll swing round with my spear and say, by the power of Christ, leave this place. And I will drive my spear through its heart.
Roll plus steel. Oh,
12.
12. 7 plus. They're at your mercy. Do they receive it or do you end them?
Go now, creature. Go to God's side. You are forgiven. So I will spare them.
Fine. On 10 plus, say what they give you or what you take from them or their remains. An unchecked item of gear, a charm or trophy that grants advantage once if you describe its relevance to some future action, or an undefined insight. Only a surviving threat can offer you that, so you get no insight. I am going to suggest that as you stab them and they disappear, yes, I am going to have a charm drop at your feet. Okay, we'll come to that charm in a bit. Winifred, you still have one of these in front of you. What are you going to do about it, if anything?
Well, I'm
You can
pretty
always
messed
run
up.
for it. You know, that's always an option in these games. Few people take it.
I wonder if Dawn or Althea would, like, I feel like I tried my thing and then got stabbed with a gladius. So if
So,
one of
you
them
know,
could,
just
I'd like to see one of them help me out.
fine. Back away. Althea or Dawn, which of you reacts first, do you think? I think Faye. I've got the Faye are, you know, legendarily lithe and agile. So I'm going to have Dawn, give Dawn a chance to act. What do we see you doing if you want to do that, Dawn? Or do you want to betray a trust? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I will just use this option that you mentioned a little earlier. Just walk away or back away
A
if
gesture
that's okay
Althea
with him.
forward.
Yes, yes. Just give a hint with my head to help her to help Winifred, and then just try to find a way out. Kind of it.
Tick the box that talks about betrayal of trust. Althea, you're up. What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with the knowledge that I have, I mean, I think again, I might step up here and it's like take a swing at this thing with my axe, brandishing that, and yeah, make some reference to hell or what's the I suppose, right? What's the Norse?
Woden's corpse hall.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Be gone to go Woden's corpse hall and strike at them with your axe. At it with your
Yeah.
axe. Fine. Let's have you roll to confront them. Again, it's steel or favor and the debt.
Steel works. So
Fine, go for
I'm
it.
good with steel. Okay, sorry. 2d6.
And I'm not sure the advantage you had is still narratively relevant, to be honest.
Right. No, that's fair.
Given what's happened.
Yep.
As if it mattered.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
So that's 11 on the dice and 2 steel, I think. So
Yep.
that is a success. On 7 plus, again, does the same thing. As you strike it, it winks out from in front of you and reappears behind you, attempting the few options it has, frankly. But on a 10 plus, you say how you, and because it's 10 plus, you can immediately move to humble it, pulling the same trick as Seren, spinning and striking at it.
Yeah. That feels that feels good.
So again, steel, or do you want to invoke Woden on this one?
No, steel feels good.
Fine.
Or
2d6
it's been
plus
treating me
steel.
well. Yeah. Ooh, all right. So a 6 plus a 2 will be 8.
So on a 7+, they're at your mercy. The legionary is cowering away from you as you threaten it with Woden's corpse haul. Do they receive it or do you end them?
Can I help to try and get a debt from the ancient Romans here?
Well, I mean that because it says if you spare them, their faction owes you a debt.
I guess that's up to Althea.
It is.
I mean, does Winifred like encourage Althea in this moment
I think this is Althea's call. I think what Matt has done is to point out the next line in the move quite reasonably.
Sure,
But I
sure.
think this comes down to what Althea does in the narrative.
I don't think that there's mercy. Like like yeah.
Yeah,
Without someone being like, whoa, like I think it's too in the moment to have that
fine,
thought.
fine. And I don't think there's time in there for Winifred to intervene. So
Sure.
so you end them, they're gone.
Straight to the corpse hall.
Straight to the corpse hall, where they will meet you as a friend if you die with a weapon in hand, Althea. It's always good to know that. You've got through the threat here. It was between you and the insight. I'm going to go to Seren here because you are the closest we have to a literate character. And now you've got time to look around this place. There's a tree growing in the middle of it, but the sun shines through the tree and illuminates a carving on the wall. And the carving on the wall, something ancient or lost is the thread here. And I think what I'm going to give you is that it's odd, given this was a military base or a military watchtower. It is a carving of a loom. So the insight here relates to an ancient loom on which weaving would be done.
And that's another insight, is it?
That is another insight.
Seren,
How do you want to phrase it?
an ancient loom. Is weaving the current narrative.
So that's slightly weird. If I tick that one, you'd be rolling at +2 now. If you think you can string this together now, you can roll +2. No advantage, disadvantage, nothing else that counts. Just a straight +2. Or you can seek a final insight to get to +3. What are you thinking?
I like +2. +2 is good.
Yeah. There's a possibility to fail, so it could be interesting.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay, so are we Winifred, Althea, you're going to go with Seren's, grasp the nettle, confront the darkness?
Oh yeah, I'm into it too. And the visions are flowing through her mind, and she's thinking of dark places and skittering legs and giant eyes.
Well, that's helpful. Because I've just marked the first on the bleak track, given those couple of failures we've had. And at bleak, I get threaten the heroes. A manifestation of the darkness strikes at the heroes. And suddenly, you all four are in a different place. You are underground. There are roots coming through the walls. There are 3 sets of manacles. and an actual loom. And then spiders everywhere, spiders. A swarm of spiders drop out of the ceiling onto all four of you. What do you do? Winifred? You're full of dark visions. What do you do in this circumstance? I've used up my hold, so you're free and fancy free now.
You certainly have.
I tell you what, it's 10 to the hour. Should we take a 5-minute break while the four of you think about what you want to do, and then we'll come back after that?
I suppose we can.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute break now. So yeah, it's not entirely clear how you got where you are, but there are spiders dropping out of the ceiling onto you all. I think I'm going to start with Winifred. What do you do?
Well, I know this is a very old place. And maybe there are things here that even the Romans feared. And maybe there are very hungry things here. But my head is full of crows. And all I can think to do is to summon a flock of birds, spirit birds. I want basically something to just sweep across the ground and devour the spiders. I want to summon a natural enemy of these wicked things.
Okay, so this is summon a creature spirit curse into a place, person, object for the rest of the scene. Okay, let's see how this invoke your gift goes. Because so far,
yeah. So far
now
we've had some
I do want to just point out there are other ways to erase a debt other than just to take another, the temptation route. You could mark one harm as a sacrifice of blood or pain. If you were looking to increase your favor, I guess is what I'm saying.
And did I get a debt from my miss on the last it just says
It's
prepare for
using
the
a
worst.
gift, so I think it always comes at a
Yeah, it always comes at a cost.
It's always at a cost, whether it succeeds or
Yeah.
fails.
I guess the question is like, did I get any help from them? And does that like so I
No,
guess
sometimes they're just spiteful.
Right. So the move should probably say prepare for the worst and mark a debt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, you need to mark a debt to invoke.
To invoke. I see.
Yeah, so when you call your patron, roll plus favor, 7+, they empower you. Oh no, I see what you mean. No, you're quite right. No, that didn't cost you a debt. No, they simply ignored you.
They didn't help me, right?
No, that's even
I got stabbed with
worse.
the gladius.
Yeah. You're quite right. No, that is a deliberate point. Yeah, thank you.
So I think this is a last desperate attempt at invoking the old gods. I'm like, they've abandoned me. My friends are repelled by me. I'm calling on the crows. This is like something, this is my family. Like I'm calling on the children of my clan to come in and devour this threat. So
Fine.
here goes. +2. Roll is an 8.
So on a 7+, they empower your gift and you succeed, but then you owe them a debt. So now the debt comes in, and tell me how these crows, what do we see on screen?
And we have been taken to a new place. We are in a dank underground chamber full of chains and webs, basically.
Yes.
And a loom.
And a loom.
A loom. Maybe there are some like old tattered tapestries on the wall that are like decomposed with age, and they start like I call to them and they flutter off the wall into materializing into like a flock of birds.
Birds,
and
general birds. Yeah.
I mean, they're crows. We've been talking.
We've been
a lot
using
about
crows. Yeah, fair enough.
And I think they sort of like they fly together, but they don't necessarily look like individual birds. As they like move together, they like meld in and out of each other. So it's more of just like a horde, a spiritual like presence of bird to devour these.
Essence of bird just sweeps through this chamber. And then the spiders are gone.
I'd like to eat them up.
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah, with you've eaten them, the birds have eaten them, they have been consumed. And actually, I think, Winifred, I can tell you that you're not even certain those spiders were real, any more real than those crows were.
And I'm heaving, like panting with the use of power. And I say, there's more, bigger. They will want to feed.
Because I think what I want to tell you about this place is it's clear that this is a sacred place. It is a sacred place, but not sacred to any gods you know. Seren, did you picked up that charm that the spirit left behind, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah. It is a copper disc on which is inscribed a spider. Just so you know, just so we stay on theme. All of you feel there must be some insight to be gained from this place. You know, this is you weren't brought here for no reason. You know, this crumbling underground space. And I think Winifred's right. I think there are more spiders here because there are tunnels going off in several different directions. You appear to be at the nexus of an 8-tunnel complex.
Maybe a sacrificial chamber, if you will.
You might say that. I couldn't possibly comment.
An offering plate.
Well, certainly now both Winifred and Seren will recognize this place as where the spirit of that girl went.
And Althea might even recognize glimpses of it as seen through my eyes.
Yeah, yeah. And then 3 young women appear in those manacles. One of them is Iadu, who was the young woman that you saved on the first night. But 2 other young women have appeared. What do you do? It is not at all clear. Something around the loom, the spiders. Who's going to seek an insight here? How are we doing on insights at the moment? I'm gonna go with Althea or Dawn. Dawn, you're a creature of nature.
Yes, I'm thinking of asking my patron to invoke a gift, my gift.
Go on.
Which is understanding.
Aha.
So maybe, yeah. So maybe that is something that I could,
I will go with that. So let's have you. I mean, I will say that I think this is not a place where Fae are welcome. Just
Sure.
so you know. But it's probably not a place where any of you or your gods are welcome. So let's invoke your gift.
Okay, so what I'm looking,
what will success look like? What would constitute success for you, do you think? Would it simply be the delivery of an insight, or more than that, or different from that?
I don't know. What I'm wondering is if I can find out something about the intention of the the entity that is coming here?
Fine.
Because
Yeah, that makes
maybe
perfect
that would,
sense.
yeah, that is working here, or the power that is
Yeah.
working here.
Let's have you roll plus favor.
So I roll plus favor, and then no, I don't get another debt. No.
No, not unless you succeed.
Okay. So plus favor, and that's 6 total.
Oh dear. So on a 6, doesn't cost you anything. Expect the worst. You can hear something coming down one of those passageways. What's your first reaction, Dawn?
My first reaction is to, well, what I wanted to is to try to get into the nature of the this evil here, because I want to understand it, right? So my first reaction is not defensive. I can warn the others that, friends, something is coming, but I want to see more. I maybe even walk a little bit, have a look, walk a little bit towards it to see what it is.
So Dawn moves towards the passageway. This passageway is probably 10 feet across, 10 feet high. And Dawn walks towards it. All of you can now hear the scrape of multiple legs coming down that passageway. Althea, what do you do as Dawn approaches the passageway?
Stuck on the sort of like vision from earlier of a giant spider that bit me. So I might be a little shell shocked maybe. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm taking any like direct action.
Step away, give
But
yourself a bit of distance.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Maybe now is
That,
the time to think about the bow.
right. Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Yeah.
Seren, what about you?
I can't allow my friend to take this head on, so I will leap in front of Dawn and brace my spear for a charge.
Well, I mean, it's 10 feet across, so you can be side by side if you want to be, but that's fine. But your protective instinct is to intervene in favor of, fine.
Yeah.
Winifred, what about you?
I think I want to tend to these prisoners. So I stepped away for a moment, but I think we're advancing down a tunnel where we hear
Something's coming to you. Yeah. I mean, Dawn and Seren have not gone into that tunnel. They're just at the threshold. Dawn to find out what it is, Seren to protect you all. So the 3 girls are kind of behind them with you. What do you want to do?
I think I'm very curious about, they sort of appeared. I guess I want to know, I want to both help them and free them, and I want to at the same time be badgering them with questions about how they came to be here.
Okay. That sounds like look about you to learn something. I'll come to you in a moment. Dawn, I'm going to give you a chance to look about you to get a view of what's down this tunnel, if you want to. Yeah?
Yeah, I'll do that.
There is a sense in which all the surfaces here, it's odd. There are no obvious sources of light, but it's not dark. It defies natural laws in that respect. So let's have you look about you, Dawn. Roll plus sense or favor an Oadet if you want the inspiration of your crown.
I think I'll roll plus sense this time. So 2d6 plus 2. I got a 7.
A close run thing. So on a 7, I can tell you that there is a large eight-legged thing coming down the corridor towards you. It's not a giant spider per se. It looks to have a human-like torso. Okay. Seren, you're braced. Yeah. Althea is back a little way, bow ready. Winifred, let's have you look about you to see what if anything you can divine from these girls.
Okay, I'm gonna roll with sense. It's a +2. I rolled a 9.
Okay. On a 9, I think I can tell you that one of them is Iadu, we know, who previously was bitten by a spider, and you've sensed her in this place. 2 other young women that you have seen around the village have appeared in the other manacles. They are drowsy, I think it's fair to say. Not unconscious, but drowsy. Does that seem like enough information for that mixed success?
That seems good. I mean, I do see a threat's weakness here, but I don't know if I've done enough to
I
learn
think that your focus has been on them, not on the threat.
That's right.
Yeah, that isn't to say that you can't, you know, in a moment, turn your attention elsewhere. But this thing is coming down very patiently, Dawn and Seren, very patiently coming towards you. And it stops about 10 paces away from you. And the 8 eyes, which Althea will remember, they are 8 human eyes, but they're black. They look down at you from a height. This is a larger than human scale creature. And it says, have you come to fulfill your pact, mortals? What's your reaction to that? I'll go to Seren first, because, you know, overzealous violence is always on the table.
We are not here to fulfill your pact, but I will give you a chance to go back from where you came from. Heed my words, because they are powerful like my god. This is your last chance.
Let's have you roll to see whether you can scare her off. I think this is probably face a challenge, and I think this is steel. Unless you want to go with faith and favor and a debt.
No, that is okay. So face challenge with steel. 9.
9. On a 7 to 9, her reaction, it is the voice you hear is a female voice.
Does anybody want to assist me?
Well, that was going to be my question. Dawn is the obvious person, given that they are standing next to you. So I'll come to Dawn first. Do you want to try to help Sarah? And if so, how?
Sorry, you're trying to scare her away? Or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Or telling her, thou shalt not pass.
Okay. Yeah, I'll help you. Yeah. Yeah.
How? What do we see you do or say? And that'll tell me what attribute I'm looking at.
I want to say to it that we are not the one who are bound by the pact to you. So you have no business here.
That sounds like either steal or subtle. I'll give you a choice.
Well, let's try with subtle.
Power of your oratory. Let's roll with subtle.
Yeah. Because I have a -2 for being selfish, so that's a -1 total. My helping is not so good, but that's a 7.
A 7, which is good enough to raise that outcome. to attend. So she says, I will wait another night, and then I will take that which is mine. And you can see that she looks beyond to the three young women. Yeah?
Yep.
And then she withdraws, backs away up that passageway. And all three girls, for all you know, are still there because you're back in the tower. But there is an insight to be had with that. Who wants to phrase an insight? Who's got a juicy one to put on the table to get approval on, or not, as the case may be? Anyone want to offer me an insight? Oh, it's all gone quiet. Okay. The only person who is Winifred, you've just unmuted. Go for it.
The pact must be fulfilled.
What do we make of that? I see Dawn nodding. Althea, yeah, okay. The pact must be fulfilled. Okay. And that was.
I'm imagining we're on a bit of a calendar here. The Romans had a regular sort of situation with this being.
So, I'm going to cut to outside the overgrown ruin. It is late in the day. Time has passed differently. It was much later in the day when you returned to the tower than you would have expected. So I think the moon is rising. But you have an option on +3 on a revelation. Is now the time? I'm seeing lots of nods. Let us go to the common move. And away on the right-hand side of that is a move called Revelation, when the heroes agree to consider the insights they've accumulated and speculate how they connect to reveal the darkness they must confront. Roll plus the number of insights they can link together into a coherent narrative. So the game now, the mini game, if you will, within this, is you need collectively to string those narratives together, those insights together into a coherent narrative that might allow you to name the manifestation of the darkness. Who or what is at the root of the darkness, yeah? So let's have a look at what we got on the table. I tell you what, I'm going to start with Paul because he's done this before. Yeah. So Black Seren, which two do you want to start by connecting? I'll untick all of those and then we'll get a cumulative as you make them, bring them together. Which two do you want to start us with?
I think we're going to go for there is power. Those in power are hiding things, and evil lurks in the shadow.
How are you going to connect those two?
I think we see somebody in the hall in finery working at a loom, and we can see an evil shadow behind them.
Okay.
The shadow of a spider.
Who would like to volunteer to build on that using another one of the insights? I'll take whoever unmutes first. It doesn't have to be one you came up with. It can be any one of them. And it doesn't necessarily need to build on the scene that Paul just framed. It could be just, and then I connect this fact to that. What are you thinking? Daniel, Dawn has something to contribute. What are you thinking? Which one do you want to go to next?
I'm thinking there is a source of magic. So whoever from the village uh, was involved in getting to the loom was practicing some kind of magic to awaken, to open this portal or whatever it is.
Okay, to either awaken that creature or
Yes,
open a
something like
route
that.
for
Yeah.
that creature. Yeah, fine. I go with that. Um, Casey, Matt, which one of you wants to try to build on from that? Because I've now got 3 ticks. We're rolling -1 currently. The more you can add to this, the better. And again, you can come up with some parallel stuff that you think can be connected at the end. It doesn't need to be a kind of direct linear, this one, this one, this one, this one. It's about connecting it into a coherent narrative. Casey, you've unmuted. I'm going to take that as a volunteering. What is Althea going to
Yeah.
say here?
Yeah, I would like to tie the fulfilling of the pact back. I mean, it all can be sort of nebulous, right? Like to tie it back into those in power hiding things, and how maybe there's been like since Roman times, there's been this like magic or whatever that's held over here, and like um people have been using it or whatever, and like there's like, yeah, the sacrifice must be made or whatever, right? Again, I guess I have Wicker Man in my head today,
Yeah,
but
you're going strong on. And well, the question is it a stranger who's going to be sacrificed or not? So yeah, I'll go with
no,
that. So we've got a shadow weaver, a weaver in the hall, a finely dressed somebody in the hall, shadow cast over them. Um, there, this is to do with the source of a magic opening or awakening that is related to this ancient pact going back to Roman times. Matt, where do you want to go next?
I think poison threatens the village. We can get a little double entendre, having seeing shots of those 3 women sleeping in their beds in the village, tossing and turning as though afflicted by some kind of sickness in their dreams. And I think a figure steps into one of their rooms. What was her name again? The named
Iadu or
Iadu.
Iada, I can't remember. Iada.
Someone with a noble bearing and fine clothes steps into the room, or maybe is already in the room at the bedside, like stroking the forehead of this sleeper as though to lull them back into their dreams so that they can be sent. It can be.
Yeah, go with that. Where do we go next? Shall I come back round to you, Paul? Does Seren have a way to link Ancient Luvis weaving the current narrative and Heart of the Wilderness are the 2 we have left?
I think we see a soot-covered woman in rags in the forest, stumbling through a forest, and she sees a Roman mosaic in a forest clearing, and the mosaic is of a loom.
Okay, so is this an ancient loom is weaving the current narrative, or are you using the forest for Heart of the Wilderness?
I'm using the forest for the Heart of the Wilderness.
Fine. Oh, there we go. Right. Then who wants to make the final connection to an ancient loom is weaving the current narrative? Althea, Dawn, go.
I don't know if this works, but maybe the loom is actually part of the solution, and if it was something that was created maybe even before the Romans came here, like from the time of giants or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe we see like a giant loom in a like dank dark chamber,
Yeah.
and we see like eight legs working at it, like very deft,
Oh, yeah.
very experienced at making webs, but this is not just a web.
Okay.
That's great.
That gives us all of those are connected. Now, let's go back to the move. The move says, it doesn't matter who makes this roll, right? But neither advantage, disadvantage, a raising or owing a debt, or any other narrative nor mechanical factor nor move influences this roll. Yeah. So who wants to take the responsibility of rolling 2d6 plus 3?
I'll do it, I guess.
Go ahead. 2d6, add 3.
All right. Let's see what the gods have to say about this. A 10.
So on 7 plus, the heroes are correct, and the fate invites them to frame a scene in which they will confront the darkness they have revealed by asking them to use their insights and revelation to confirm. So I'll start here with Winifred, as you made the roll. Who or what embodies the darkness in this place? So who are you going to have to confront? Or what are you going to have to confront?
The ancient evil that lives beyond time and preys upon mortals.
Is that our giant spider in the basement? Or is it someone or something else?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because the darkness here needs to manifest.
Yeah, all the insights have pointed towards a person. We haven't actually mentioned a giant spider.
You haven't. You haven't.
So
the only time the giant spiders come up is weaving the narrative.
yeah.
And the creature we saw in the tunnels had a human torso but had spider legs?
There was a human torso and this human-like face, but with 8 eyes.
With
yeah.
8
So
eyes.
some kind of human turned into a spider, or some perverse kind of spider, intelligent spider. But it's a hell of a weaver, that's for certain.
And I think there is somebody responsible who may be immortal and may have lived in the time of the Romans, but somebody who has facilitated these pacts between these deep things and the people who have lived on this land, and that person may be among us. Should I be
Okay.
more explicit?
Well, I am asking you who or what is the manifestation of the darkness here. How is the darkness embodied here? You're going to have to confront someone or something. So you need to pick a bad guy.
Yeah, there's no more investigation now.
No, you're done.
We're beyond any sort of like.
Yeah. You're going to tell me what the answer is.
Well, I want to say that the young, thoughtful heir Beodrid might be an ancient sorcerer or something of the like, somebody who has orchestrated this arrangement for many centuries between the people of the land and the evil that lurks beneath.
The thoughtful heir is the who, then. Where and when will you confront them or it? Let me come to Althea. When and where? Now? Or dawn tomorrow? Or I don't know.
Yeah, so we've like we've left the tomb and we're having this sort of like moment under the moon on the outside after having just had this conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, yeah. So maybe
you've talked it through, you've agreed what's going on here. You're identifying the thoughtful heir as the embodiment of the darkness.
Right.
The question is,
Uh,
when and where are you going to confront that heir?
Yeah. Sounds like at dawn in the hall.
Yeah. Big denouement in the hall at dawn. Okay. Which named NPCs will be present in the scene, and why do you think they are there? So let me go to dawn. Is there one of our named NPCs that, or more than one, that you want present?
Yeah, definitely Tar will be there because and why? Because I will have invited him to come.
That's great. Do you want anybody else there for this
Uh,
denouement? Or is
well,
Tar enough?
yeah. Well, does it somebody else picks other NPCs to be present?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just checking in
Okay.
with you if there's somebody else you want particularly, but if not, I'll move on
No,
to
for me, Tar
Seren.
is fine. Yeah.
Seren, is there another NPC or NPCs you would want present?
Yeah, I want the bitter spouse there, Garhilda.
Okay. And finally, what is it, Winifred, that you fear most as you confront the darkness embodied in the thoughtful air? What are you afraid is going to happen, Winifred?
I'm afraid that Beodred has a choking grasp on the whole village already, that the whole place is in his thrall. He's maybe replaced the true heir, maybe he deceived the Lord in some way. I'm not sure what he's done, but his power is absolute. That's what I fear, that there are no cracks.
Fine. Because we've not had much to do with Beardred, have we? When I think about it. He's a bit of a shadowy eminence. Okay, so that works for me. On a 7 to 9 doesn't apply. You got a 10. So fine. Cut to dawn. Yeah.
Let me just add one thing
mhm.
about that last thing there, because we spoke about an ancient loom weaving the current narrative, and that speaks to prophecy. So maybe I fear that the prophecy is too strong. There are too many threads woven through this eventuality, and fate has already decided what is to happen. And I think that speaks to his strength and his hold, but also in a way that speaks to the themes.
The tapestry is already woven. Okay. So, it's the hall. It's dawn. The Lord and the Priest of Woden have left the village to hunt, leaving Beardred and our bitter spouse, Garhilda, and Tar, because he was invited, in the hall. Garhilda and Beardred are rather uncomfortably breaking their fast together. What do you do, Seren?
We kick the doors in and fuck them up. That's what we do. Yeah, let's not pussy about here.
So what, you just burst in and launch yourself at Beardred?
No, I ride through the doors on my charger and run them down.
Both of them?
If they can both fit on the end of a spear, why not?
So you charge at Beardred, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, he's your principal target. I'm just trying to be clear.
Yeah, if I can angle it so that she can be on the receiving end as well, so be it.
Oh, no resistance of overzealous violence then?
No,
okay.
no. We've resisted violence for so long. It now must emanate itself.
Okay, now he is a warrior because they all are, but he's not particularly a veteran or experienced, and he's certainly not expecting to be charged down in his father's hall. So as you charge past the fire pit, his defense is he has experience in war, so he reacts quickly.
Dodges.
So he tries to dodge. Yeah. So how do you overcome that defense?
With a sweeping arc of my spear.
That sounds like steel. And
It does.
mounted, you gain advantage. So roll 3d6 plus steel to confront them.
Can I this is I'd like to be suffering from pride.
Oh, you want to take on pride? Fine.
Yeah, I want to take on pride, which is not particularly good for the Sword of God, because it puts you at -2 to face a challenge. So I'm rolling at -2, although I've got steel of 2.
No,
So...
face a challenge is not confront them.
Oh, isn't it?
No.
Okay, that's fine then.
No, you're okay. But it does reduce the debt by 1.
Yes. Let me deal with that now.
Just in case you need that +1 favor.
Yeah, 3d6. That's not particularly great. 8, 9, 10.
That's pretty good.
Well, yeah.
So you immediately deal with the experienced in war, and on a 10 plus, he gets to do one thing, or one thing happens on a 7 plus. What's he going to do? They use a power if they have one, and that power is to foreshadow your fate. And it will put you at disadvantage because suddenly you see a moment in which you will die. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But that disadvantage will. But on a 10 plus, you can immediately humble them if you choose to, or take one of those other 10 plus options. What do you want to do?
I can only humble if they've got no defenses.
You just took out experienced in war.
That's all he's got.
That's all he's got.
Oh well, let's humble him then. Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be. I was expecting a long list of defenses.
He's a thoughtful heir. What do you expect?
Okay.
He's tried to kind of confuse you with your fate, so you're going to be at disadvantage to humble him, but you could do so immediately. 3d6, bottom 2, plus steel, unless you've got a better plan.
God owes me an advantage, though.
Oh, he does. You can cash in that. Yeah, he is. So that'll cancel the disadvantage. How do we see that? Because I just want to see God on screen for a moment. How does God whisper?
It's a
Fear
ray
not.
It's a ray of light. Coming suddenly comes through an open the fire pit. Normally, where there's smoke, the smoke dissipates, and a beam of light sort of pinpoints where my spear needs to go. Whether my spear lands on target or not is a different matter.
Different question. Let's see if you can put him at your mercy. Straight to the. Oh
no!
6.
Not a 6. One off.
You take harm as established, so I think that's going to be one harm.
Myself on that.
Yes, you could. There's no reason why you couldn't seek your patron's help. You want more than a glowing light.
Oh, more than a glowing light. I want the hand of God to move my sphere.
Okay, so this is absolutely within your calling as a sword of God. So owe them a debt and re-roll one or both dice.
I think I'll re-roll both.
Okay, up the debt to 2. Don't forget the debt. Oh, come on, the suspense is killing me. Ooh.
That's fine. 7.
7. On a 7 plus, he stumbles backwards. The horse rears above him. The spear is at his throat. He is at your mercy. Does he receive it?
No, that doesn't fit with charging through the door.
You
Have your
spear him.
hesitation at the last moment.
No hesitation. How does God step up to improve what was looking to be a complete failure?
I think it is the hand of God. The spear literally sort of gets dragged across the floor and then on him. I'm not really in a position. It's like, wow, how did that happen?
You spear him, he dies. The other three of you, I take it, followed Seren's mounted charge into the room. Yeah? And Tar is comes in with you and he's and our bitter spouse, Garhilda, laughs out loud. Yes, she cries. And then she looks at Tor and says, why are you here? And he says, I'm the person who I think led to this happening, my lady. And looks at you, Dawn. What do you say?
Well, I ignore him completely, and
But sir, you said that you would.
but this is not over. We have to find out more about what is bugging him. This is just the first step. My lady, why were you rejoicing?
And for the first time since you've been here, you see a smile, and she says, now my lord will need another heir. Because she is too young to have been Beardred's mother. It is over. You have driven the darkness. The darkness was embodied there. But the darkness is a phenomenon. It is a thing. It grows across the land. You have whack-a-mole this one. You have protected this village and those three girls from their fate. But who knows what lies down the road? Let us go to Aftermath. You'll find Aftermath on the Leaving tab. If the fate says the heroes have failed, they describe how the settlement succumbs to the darkness. You have not. You have killed the embodiment of the darkness. However, if the fate says the heroes have successfully freed the settlement from the darkness that beset it, they invite them to describe a brief epilogue for the settlement or any surviving or significant NPCs. Is there someone, Dawn, that you want to describe an epilogue for? One of our surviving significant NPCs. I have to say, I came to you first because I thought you might have a view of what happens to Tar.
Yeah, I don't have a really good idea, so I'm kind of avoiding this, or maybe trying to think. But yeah, Tar is if the threat is put away, then he's just more. I don't know, not sure.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I have something.
Okay, yeah, if you have a
He's
good
the
idea.
only local in the room. Garhilda walks up to him and stabs him in the throat.
Oh.
And she turns to the rest of you and says, he killed my lord's son.
Yes, he did.
Althea, is there someone, or do you want to build an epilogue for the settlement after these events, or do you want to build an epilogue, or do you want to put an epilogue in for one of the survivors?
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I guess the only thing I have is just sort of like mirroring the themes of when we came, right? So like instead of coming in and our boots pulling this muck into this like spider web gossamer sort of grossness, we leave like the ground is dry now or whatever, right? And it's just the dust on people's feet as they walk or whatever, or something like that, or there's no
Yeah,
more crow murmurations or whatever, that sort of thing.
I get that. Winifred, is there any one, or do you want to come up with any kind of epilogue that shows the aftermath?
I think the three prisoners had seen Winifred in their dreams. She'd attended to them a few times. And so I think we see a shot, maybe with the moon overhead, and the four of them are sitting around a fire cackling. And I think this is a little bit of a reprieve from the loneliness that Winifred was feeling, like a little bit showing the darkness dissipating, and that in her longing temptation, in like always reaching out to those people through the dream world, she was able to make a real connection with somebody. And so they're quite drunk, I think. And I think someone walks by the fire, and we see Winifred get up to greet Garfrick, the priest of Woden, who is maybe heading to his bed or something like that. And I think they have a brief conversation about keeping an eye on the shadows, and maybe watching for birds falling overhead is like the joke a little bit. And not the regular sort of thing you'd look for overhead, but
Stay away from that tower.
that's it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a like outer circle, like we're keeping an eye on what's happening here in these lands. And any
Seren,
of the
anything
other,
to add?
What was the named girl?
Iada.
Yeah, I would like to give Iada a letter and say that the Holy Spirit now shines upon you. You should go to um, my training ground, my monastery, where warrior nuns are trained. And I will leave that letter with her.
Fair enough. Then the fate says if the settlement's lord or lady is sufficiently grateful to be numbered among the hero's allies. I think that the deal that Garhilda puts before you all is that she will promise her husband's support to you in the future if you stick with the story she tells. Does anyone want to rock that boat? Okay, then this settlement is allied to you. May or may not apply in the next two sessions, but you never know your luck. If the fate says that a hero's supernatural patron is satisfied with what they did, that hero raises one debt they owe that patron. I think all of you, your patrons, will welcome your efforts, because nobody likes these old Roman gods. So if you owe your patron a debt, reduce it by one. If you don't owe them a debt, you should have pushed the boat that way. So whatever the outcome, the heroes clear all wearied and wounded condition boxes. So any wearied or wounded you have marked, clear. Anyone got dying left? Any dying marked? I don't think so. You kind of navigated your way through that very comfortably, I thought. Because you saw off the significant physical threat. So finally, as the heroes leave the settlement, the fate asks them to agree which neighboring faction they will travel into, and triggers Weirdbith full raid. I will suggest that we start with that next time. Where are you going to go next? And then we'll see what happens on the journey there. Okay. So so I think that is the cycle of the game complete for this settlement. Let's have a quick stars and wishes. In the order I can see you, Casey, any stars, any wishes for next time?
Yeah, stars all around. Stars, Alan, like you uh man, you push the pace. Not that's not a bad thing. Like just like uh I gotta be sharper, I guess, right? Like or it feels that way. And yeah, stars to like the player interaction we had where like Matt suggested a thing for me and like Paul, you were like, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? Like that's that kind of dynamic or whatever obviously can get dicey at a table, especially with people that don't know each other. And that was super cool that we were able to do that and it all worked out. Um and Daniel, I liked all the stuff with Tar, like setting up your own dominoes and then knocking them down later, especially in regards to something that you wanted to see, like manifesting that or making that happen. That was super satisfying to see, for sure.
So selfish.
Yeah, which is perfect. And I would have no idea that you were playing outside of your comfort zone or either. So that's super cool. And yeah, like I say, I guess my wish is just to be maybe a little bit sharper, or thinking a little bit more forward, maybe now that I kind of see how the cycle works or whatever, or what we're doing or how exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably it.
It takes a settlement. I mean, that's why I didn't want to kind of play out the Beardred confrontation at the end, because
Right. No,
it was
yeah, and
more
kudos.
important to tie that knot up, I thought, this time around.
Right. And kudos Paul there again for being like, no, man, like the time for talking is over. We're not doing that anymore. We're doing the confrontation. Like we all agreed that this is next. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. We did. You're right. Let's just go for it then, for sure.
And what have you got a warhorse for if it's not to ride into someone's hall?
Exactly.
Daniel, any stars, any wishes?
Well, styles are all around to all the players. You showed really distinct ways of handling things, but also it looked like everyone was doing their own thing, but also we were working together. To Alan, as Casey has already said, for keeping up the pace and helping us navigate the locations and the mechanics and everything, and it was really satisfying conclusion. So my star goes also to the whole mechanic around insights and the revelation move. That was really cool. I did play Brittlewood Bay, but this is different because we get to invent all the things and to put it together, and it was really good. And I have no special wishes. I'm looking forward to the next session.
We'll do end of session XP in a moment. I just want to get through these. Matt, any stars, any wishes?
I mean, yeah, stars for ancient Roman spirits and spider people, and yeah, I gotta echo the Revelation star. I think that was really cool. I love knotting threads together, and it was cool because it wasn't so straightforward as out of one person's mind, just saying like this is what happened. It's like you get this sort of like it's as if it was woven on a tapestry and you sort of have to like string together all the different happenings. It's a little unclear, but in a really satisfying mythical kind of way, and I think that was cool. And I liked the shade getting ticked and seeing it get into bleak and being threatened. And yeah, I thought the favor moves are really fun and debts, and I'm liking the push and pull of this game very much, and I'm liking what everyone's bringing, the holy fervor and the I liked not being helped in a time that I needed it. The fickle fae and the savvy hunter. We're learning more about everybody, and I dig that. I guess my wish is I would love to see a scene or something of all of our different peoples sort of being stirred together, because we are a party, we are a wandering group, and I would like to see us unified. Like, how do we blend these like pagan rituals and Christian prayer and Woden war cries and all these things?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to frame a scene. you know, you know, in a way, seeking solace in friendship is the mechanical hook to put something like that on, but don't feel, you know, obliged to do it with a move. You know, it was quite nice today. If I was giving a star, it would be the fact that we started off, I think, with the intention maybe of leaning into seek solace in friendship between Winifred and Althea, and events took a turn.
Yep, we found out.
Paul, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, great play across the table. You know, I've played this game, and it's nice to see people bringing the playbooks to life differently. You know, everybody's done that, and leaning in as a group. You know, that was you know, raised earlier by Casey. How you know, very little stepping on toes, and it all moved in a great direction. And you know, good pacing to you, Alan. You ratcheted it up when it needed to be ratcheted up. Liked that. Wishes going forwards. Could I have some overzealous Christians?
So you
Yeah,
could restrain them. Well, that may point us towards going to a Christian kingdom next time round.
or Christians in a non-Christian kingdom doing overzealous.
Yeah. Overzealous Christians. Okay. ... Fair enough. My stars, yeah, thank you for throwing yourself into the time and place. And I thought there was lots of sufficiently mythic stuff going on to fit that kind of myth and legend thing. So thanks for that. Let's just have a quick canter across our end of session XP. Casey, did you step into the unknown first? Yes, you did. Did you address a challenge with cunning? I think we might have been in that position if that spider creature had come into the chamber and you're locating yourself for the arrow shot would have worked well.
What about getting to the ruin and
Yeah,
navigating
do you
the
know,
forest?
I was about to say, yeah, I think that was a cunning approach. Yeah, I think I give you that.
Sure.
You know, not
Okay, cool.
because the simple solution is, okay, I start hacking through it, but you went for a more thoughtful one. So I think, yeah, take 2 XP for end of session. Our Celtic Mystic, did you did we see the influence of your burden? I think we did, you know, because you keep looking for the answer. The fact that the gods today didn't want you to get it is not your fault, Winifred. So I think you get one for that. And yes, you did address a challenge mystically. On several occasions, you tried very hard to address a challenge mystically, but the spirit crows was delightful. You know, that's another star for me. So give yourself 2 XP. Then the sword of God, did you resist the attraction of overzealous violence? You did, I think.
I spared actually. Apart from the person at the end, I spared everything that I fought.
You did. You did. I mean, you know, good old you. And did you address the challenge with self-sacrifice? Yeah, I think you took a chance going in there.
I tried to get in front of
you did
any conflict.
You did, and in the end, you didn't know that Beardred or his mortal casing would be quite such a pushover.
No.
So yeah, you can have 2 for that. And finally, Althea, did we see the influence of your selfishness? Of course we did. Did you address a challenge with betrayal of trust? See above.
Yes.
2 XP. So that transfer those 2 XP into your track, and we might see some advancement next time round, perhaps. So a final question: am I okay to publish this to the YouTube? Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. I will see you next time for where do we go next? Bye now.
See you guys. Bye bye.